Welcome, everybody, to the Quick Count brought to you by the 10 Count Podcast, brought to you by bodyslam.net. It's your boys, Ty, and across the screen from me is J Star, and it is a very fine Sunday. The weather was pretty nice. Today was a little cold, but I liked it. It kind of reminded me of a nice fall day, and I like the fall. I like the weather like that, but I'm feeling good. You know, Monday's coming. I'm off of work for a bit because I'm on paternity leave, so it don't matter for me. I think you work on Mondays, but anyway.
No, I don't.
You don't. We're
Nope.
both off. We're ready to party for a Sunday. Stussy 6 on the YouTube. How's it going? We're doing fine. How are you today, Stussy? Appreciate the comment. We are on the reel of Elimination Chamber last night, and I guess if you can tell by the stream title, you know how we're kind of feeling right now. But Justin, let's get into it. I mean, obviously, I think you watched it today, or did you watch it last night?
So we had my mom's surprise 60th birthday party last night. So I didn't really get to watch much last night. So I pretty much caught up on everything this morning. So I knew everything that happened. Obviously, I couldn't stay off, the X account. So I knew everything that happened, but I finally got to really dissect everything this morning. I don't feel great going into WrestleMania. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm kind of confused with the route they're taking, because they're hashing out these last minute options to get it. These, we'll say, greater potential matches or marquee matches. And for us, right, Rhea and Io lose a belt. And we spoke about this last week. I mean, we spoke it on Wednesday. That was the only option for Rhea to win, because now what does Io Sky do? She's pretty much off the card. What is she going to wrestle for? She's not wrestling for the Intercontinental Championship. She's not wrestling for the women's world championship. So what is one of your, if not your top woman, doing on the roster on WrestleMania weekend? Maybe she gets into a triple threat with Asuka and Kyrie, U.S. title match. But I think she's a Raw superstar. It could be a possibility, Stussy. But to me, I feel like at this point, Asuka and Kyrie aren't, the tag champions.
Mm-hmm.
Why not fit them in as a triple threat? I don't know. I guess I'm speculating, and I don't want to right now because I want to talk about Elimination Chamber. But it's just weird that, the biggest match possible for Jade is Rhea Ripley. Obviously, that's what they're trying to do. And our prediction, which I kind of swayed you with, which of course it was my swaying that caused us to fail on the prediction, was Tiffany Stratton. It made sense. It was SmackDown already. Rhea's Raw. Rhea's a tag champion. So yeah, it just sucks because I feel like Rhea and Io could have fought the Bellas. You could have added in the Kabuki Warriors. You could have made it TLC. You could have made it a ladder match, and I think that could have went really well. I don't know. How did you feel about this way?
Once Rhea and Io dropped those titles on SmackDown, I think I instantly texted you. I said, "We are so screwed." You texted me, yeah. We were so screwed for our prediction because we said it. That was the only way Rhea, I thought, and you thought, would win Elimination Chambers if she somehow dropped the titles along the way. Sure as shit, she dropped the titles 2 days after we discussed it. Stussy on YouTube says, can't have Mania without Rhea in a women's world title match. I mean, Rhea deserves it. Rhea is the creme de la creme for the women's division right now. But you just mentioned Io, and how do you leave Io off the card? I agree with you. I think they'll go with like the Kabuki Warriors will start having some tension. Obviously, they already have it. Asuka is just bullying Kyrie. And then you have, I think you could do Kyrie, Asuka and Io in a triple threat. We have Piggy Banks, who is my buddy Kevin, I'm assuming, fire everyone and start over. That's also an option.
I was sorry, I was laughing at you. I was laughing at your boy's comment right there.
Listen, we don't feel great on this road to WrestleMania. I just said it. We'll break down match by match, but I don't know, dude. It just doesn't feel like a road to WrestleMania for me. It really doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of seeming very rushed and thrown together. Matt with the let's go. Welcome in on the Sunday, my man. Let's get into the Elimination Chamber, right? We have the women start off, which I was super excited for. But to me, I don't know how you felt, but the match was kind of bleh. It wasn't as, high stakes for me. I thought the coolest moment for me in the match was when Raquel took out both Kiana James and Asuka at the same time. I feel like that kind of buries Asuka a little bit. I think Kiana can take that. But it was a cool moment to see someone pin two people at once, at least in the side of the division in the Elimination Chamber. And it's cool to see them kind of boasting her as that big diesel, that powerhouse of the women's division. But also, if they want to prop her up that way, maybe that could have been the match for Jade, right? And I don't know what the decision's going to be. I feel like at WrestleMania, if Jade drops the title to Rhea, they're just, again, TKO is just trying to get the biggest bang for their buck. As Stephanie said, Jesus, Stuffy, sorry. I'm thinking about Tiffany and you at the same time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but Stussy6 on YouTube saying Tiffany had a great performance. Makes me wish you won, just like Liv in last year. Yeah, Tiffany looked phenomenal. And with the blood coming out of her, I think it was her nose or her mouth too. It reminded me of that moment where, Becky, got bloody from Nia. And to me, that was a cool moment to see. If she held her, hand up high, win the Elimination Chamber bloody against Rhea, I think that could have, boosted her a crap ton if they kind of would have went with an audible and be like, this might look like a cool viral moment for Tiffany to go over all bloodied up like that. I really was hoping Tiffany would go over, and maybe they could have went, with a more aggressive, violent side to Tiffany, moving past that with the bloodiness we've seen on her in that match.
Yeah, it just goes back to when we were talking about the predictions, right? The one thing for me was, to me, Tiffany doesn't beat Rhea. It's just a matter of,
Yeah.
I don't know. And we discussed maybe Rhea is the first entrant, and she was apparently in that lucky number, I think 4 spot for the women's elimination chamber, where that spot has won like 3 times or something like that. So once they like made that announcement, it also like kind of stuck with me. Like, all right, Rhea is definitely now winning the chamber, but it's kind of disappointing, but it's also not, because Rhea's great. I'm not mad with Rhea at all. But now just going forward, it's like, where does everyone else fit in? I'm sure we're going to get something with Alexa and Charlotte, probably. Charlotte's in this like depressed little funk right now that she didn't make the chamber match. I thought Kiana James looked pretty good. But then there was also just fluky moments, man, like people missing spots and this awkwardness throughout the whole entire elimination chamber. So I don't know. I don't think in my mind the match was spectacular, but it also it was what it was. And Rhea won, and now we're going on to Jade versus Rhea, which, like you said, is the biggest possible match for Jade Cargill.
The only unfortunate thing is, like, they have to come up with a story very quickly because they have no history. They have not been on the radar against each other. So I'm curious to see how they kind of prop this up and make this a WrestleMania type match, right? Because you need that suspense, you need that story, you want that history, because it makes it more high stakes. So I'm curious to know how they kind of like flip the switch. I think it's like 40 days to WrestleMania at this point.
It's coming up, dude.
Monday. So they got to really, use these 40 days wisely. And how do you make Jade versus Rhea that WrestleMania type match with the story that we're looking for?
I mean, the way it seems to me is that's going to be an opening. Like, it's either going to open up night 1 or night 2. Well, I almost guaranteed. I think it's already probably written in the books. Rhea and Jade starting off the night to try to start the show off with a bang. You put out This Is My Brutality right off the bat, the crowd's going to get into it. So that's my theory behind it. Does she win? How many times has Jade even defended the title since she won it? Once, twice. Stussy on YouTube, I can see Jade attacking Io backstage to start the story. See, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the story's going to be built, right? We know that Rhea is going to go up against Jade Cargill. There's no other option. Liv Morgan made her choice, and it's Stephanie Vaquer. So they're going to just probably meet up in the ring, and they're just going to start talking shit to each other. And then it'll just go from there. There's not much time to build. It's just going to be promo battles, probably a little side attack by Jade Cargill here and there. And I just hope it's better than the segments we were getting from Becky and AJ Lee.
I don't know if it's going to be, though, because Jade still has some learning to do with the promo, and the promo realm. So I think this is a good test for her. I think Rhea can hopefully pull the best out of Jade, especially in that realm. But Jade's still, a little green with promos. So if she doesn't do her part, this match, at least, listen, it'll be a fun match. It's going to be a very brutal, violent. Maybe they add a stipulation to it. Maybe it's no DQ. Maybe it's street fight, something like that, where they can just beat the crap out of each other. Because if you looked at Jade and Naomi in that street fight, that was awesome. It was an epic match. Those two had history and it had that drive. And that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want in a WrestleMania match between Jade and Rhea. Again, like I said, that history, that story is not there. But if we can add that element of violence to these two already brutal women, these kick-ass women, I think that'll work a lot. So I'm hoping they do add a stipulation to it. I think if you let Jade, no rules against Rhea, it could be a really good match and also very believable for Jade to come out on top against Rhea.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. They have this match now written down, so I'm sure creative hopefully has something lined up for the next few weeks to get us invested in this match.
Yeah, and you kind of segued us into talking about AJ and Becky, and boy, that match was also just misses and stuff. There was that awkward moment where I'm trying to remember where Becky threw AJ. It was for the end where Becky was supposed to hit her head on the turnbuckle. It looked like they were confused a little bit. It's just I feel bad because we talk about the women all the time on this podcast and how they're they've been leagues above the men.
Mhm.
But on this night, it didn't seem like that. It definitely, I think the women had a little rusty night. We had, I think, one of the Black Widows was a little kind of wonky at one point. And then also with Alexa with trying to do the Sister Abigail on Rhea, and
Oh
Rhea
my
just like
god, dude,
wasn't.
that
It was
that
bad. Rhea like wasn't like taking it, and it was the strangest thing. It's just like there was a lot of mishaps, even like going to the future in the main event with LA Knight. When we talk about that, like I don't know if it was the nerves, if it was just a bad night. Like it could have just been an overall just a crappy night. Just rebound and push to WrestleMania and show us differently at WrestleMania. But just like I get AJ has only had 2 of the matches. It was a tag team match with I was going to call him Philip because when she talks about CM Punk, it's Philip. But with CM Punk against Seth and Becky, we had the War Games match. So this was her first real singles match
Mhm.
back in WWE on the big stage in the Elimination Chamber for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm glad she won. But you can tell like there was some kind of ring rust. But also, I feel like this character for Becky, when she's an ass kicker, she's awesome, right?
Mhm.
She takes the charge. She doesn't back away. She's not strained from a fight. She hits all her moves. She doesn't miss a step. I feel like this character isn't in her bones. And you can kind of feel it. You can see, her promos, like you said, she's over the top. And sometimes she does great, especially when she does her social media posts. I love them. I think they're hysterical. They're funny out in the field. But when it comes to segments and it comes to matches, I don't think she fits that kind of heel afraid mentality where I have to cheat and hide and not do all my moves and kind of, run
Mhm.
away. I feel like she doesn't know when to punch properly. I feel like she doesn't know when to, strike or not strike or run away. Like it just, to me, I feel like she's not comfortable in her shoes when she's in this gimmick in the ring.
Yeah, I was really hoping that this match would save those awkward, cringy segments that led up to it the past 2 Raws, and unfortunately, I don't think it did. Um, it was upsetting. I mean, the crowd was behind. Obviously, the Chicago crowd was behind AJ
Loved it.
Lee.
Yeah.
Obviously, I like that they got Jessica Carr once again involved. I could possibly see something down the road, not Mania, because we believe that Mania is going to be round 2 between Becky and AJ. But I know Jessica Carr, it's like out there that she's been training. I can see a match between Jessica Carr and Becky down the road somewhere.
Yeah.
And then maybe that will end this gimmick that Becky is running with, because you're right, dude. When Becky's the last kicker, when she's the man and she's a badass, she's unstoppable, dude. She's amazing. She's confident on the mic. She's amazing with her in-ring work, but this just afraid persona, like cocky also, but also like a Karen in a way. It's not working for me. And I really was hoping that this match last night was going to save it, and it really didn't. Like you said, there was just missed spots and just awkwardness in the match too. And it is what it is. We move on. We got to see what happens now. I already saw Becky was complaining on X, right? She was adding, I think it was Adam Pearce. So we wait and we see what happens next, because we think that that's what's going to happen again. So hopefully they can get it right the second time at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and Adam Pearce even responded to Becky, said, "Let's talk." And yeah, we have Sean Garner, HJ2DY on the YouTube with the Will Jade retain at Mania. I feel like if they want to put their eggs in a Jade basket and they want her to be, a big name and a powerhouse on WWE programming, they need to pull the trigger on her retaining, especially against Rhea. That's the person who you want to have her be successful against. And if she wins in a sly way or a crappy way, like that'll just garner so much heat towards her heel persona, which will work in her benefit. So I don't know about how you feel, Justin, but I think she has to retain if they want to move forward with Jade as a dominant force within WWE.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to proclaim that, listen, Jade Cargill is the real deal, she just beat Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, then yeah, you have to do it. Now, whether you might have like Jade has an ace up her sleeve where all of a sudden she has some help and she wins, but she doesn't win clean, and also now she's like starting her own little faction over on SmackDown. I could see that as well. She still gets the victory over Rhea. She's still the champion, and now she has some. She doesn't need the backup, but if she ever needed the backup, now she has it. So I could see it that way. I don't know if Jade would beat her clean though.
Yeah. That's why I think if it was a stipulation like no DQ, we can have that run in, or even she can win by using weapons and stuff, and it's not that clean. And Sean Garner says, who helps her? That is a good question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I don't have anyone in mind right now. You know, Jade is cutting ties with everyone on SmackDown. She does not give a shit. She says she's that bitch. She don't care. She'll take a challenge from anyone. So I think if anything, it would have to be someone from NXT, maybe Evolve, maybe someone they bring in from outside of WWE. It's definitely would be interesting. It's probably not that big of a possibility, but yeah, Sean mentions BFAB and Mishin, but she kind of killed that. She definitely destroyed those ties. And Matt with the Naomi return, but that would, I feel like, work not in Jade's
that would
favor.
not work in Jade's.
Yeah, I feel like that would.
They still have heat.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. And Celestia 6 mentioned Jade should keep her Mania streak going. Yeah, I think if they want Jade to be a player, it just has to happen. It just, to me, it would be rough. But again, if TKO's pulling the strings and they're like, we want Rhea Ripley as a champion, and this is their way to get Rhea as champion, then Jade's going to sit backseat. Rhea's going to take the title and rule SmackDown.
Yeah, Jada Parker, I think would be an awesome addition to Jade Cargill.
Yeah. Let's dig into, we got CM Punk and Finn Balor, and I can't believe how hard-hitting it kind of was leading into WrestleMania. I thought that they might play it a little safe in this match, and I feel like they didn't really play it safe, which, good for them. You see the foot welts on Punk's face in the press conference. Hey, I'm glad it was clean, right? No interference from Judgment Day. We saw Finn and CM Punk shake hands. I think that's going to lead to tomorrow night. We're going to see some fallout with Finn and the Judgment Day. They were not happy with that the first time. They're definitely not going to be happy about it the second time. But it was obvious the big marquee match for the weekend of WrestleMania is going to be CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That's what it was going to stay. And that's what frustrates me about, if you've heard me on this podcast before, Roman, I said, he's not going to be around. This was going to be filler because Roman needed to go take his break. Tweet that, the crowd, who was more tired, the crowd or CM Punk during this match? It's like, bro, you're at home with your Twitter fingers. What are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be promoting the main event for WrestleMania this year in Las Vegas, and you're sitting at home with your feet up tweeting. Hell, he probably didn't even watch. He probably got the finish from Hunter, and he probably had a tweet scheduled, and once the night went off, it posted, and he just went to bed, because that's how much he gives a shit about, to my opinion, about WWE. But I digress.
For me, that was the match of the night. Punk and Balor was the match of the night. I enjoyed the retro Chicago Bulls MJ awesome entrance for CM Punk. There was someone lurking in the background. I don't know if that's going to be a play or something, but people picked up on just this large man behind, just like lurking in the shadows while Punk was getting ready before his cult of personality hit. Some said it kind of looked like Royce Keys. It would be interesting, but now I feel like Punk has to be solely focused on Roman Reigns now. There's no other PLEs coming up. It's literally WrestleMania is what's next. So maybe that plays out later down the road. I don't know what that entails. But one thing that I wanted to mention, because now I think we're starting to see the face turn for Finn Balor. The show of respect, the handshake after the match, I think really says something, because I think now the Judgment Day can play off that. Because obviously Balor did not want the help. Balor wanted to go out and do it on his own. Balor comes up short. Balor puts his hand out for a handshake. They shake hands. Balor says that he's the best in the world, and he walks off. Now I'm hoping on Monday Night Raw, Dom and JD and whoever else will be like, what the hell was that? Like, why did you shake his hand? He just beat your ass. and then Balor can just kind of go off and say, well, just do something where now the tension is really high between them, and now you can work towards hopefully Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, because that's what I want to see. I've said it. Finn Balor needs to break free from the Judgment Day for a singles push to happen for him.
Yeah, and I honestly, I would love if on Monday they either go out for a promo to start the show or something, and instead they just beat down Balor.
Yeah,
it's just like full beat down, get JD involved, doesn't matter, have the whole turn, and I think that'll be an awesome program going into WrestleMania. Slessy 6, he said it was a 5-star classic. It would have been higher, but no one did a moonsault off the balcony. And then also Piggy Banks on the YouTube, the CM Punk entrance was the highlight of the whole
it was
show.
awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. Like I said, I didn't expect this to be as hard-hitting, as awesome as a match as it was. I thought they were going to take the safe route. I thought it was just going to be kind of a generic match. And it wasn't. It was, like you said, kind of the highlight of the night. I did really enjoy the men's elimination chamber. I think it really took off towards the end, especially with all the mayhem that occurred. And I think there was a lot of cool moments. But yeah, I think they tore the house down. I know Chicago was super into it. Hats off to CM Punk for wanting to put on a match like that. Just 42 days out to WrestleMania. It just shows that, again, on the post-show promo, saying that he's a fighting champion. He believes that the juice is in the wrestling and the being here, and not in the Twitter fingering at home, which I completely agree. So I'm excited. I know CM Punk's going to do his part. We're going to find out on Monday. I think Roman's on Raw tomorrow night. So hopefully he's here every week. Sean Garner on the YouTube, will Liv take the title from Stephanie, and don't let Roman take the title from Punk. I completely agree with the part two. I think it'll be a travesty if they let Roman take the title and not show up back until SummerSlam. That's just a joke.
And I just wanted to add on to what Ty said with the Roman taking the title from Punk. We said it last week. The only way I see it, and I think Ty sees it, is if Roman does take the title from Punk, then there's something that we don't know about where Roman's coming back full time. They do not want to put that title on a part-time Roman Reigns again, especially with the run that CM Punk is currently having. And then my take on Liv and Stephanie, I don't know anything, but I don't think so. I think Stephanie Vaquer is just way too on top right now of her game. And I know Liv will try to cheat. Obviously, she's going to have some backup, but I don't think it's going to be enough to take down Stephanie Vaquer right now.
Yeah, and I think that if Raquel doesn't turn on Liv by WrestleMania, I think we might see the turn on Liv during that match. I think that's where we might see where Raquel's like, I'm done with this crap. And we start to see Judgment Day just fall to pieces finally. Maybe not, because we've thought this many times over the years. They are cockroaches. They do survive a lot. But I think we're seeing the beginning of the end of the Judgment Day. But we'll find out during WrestleMania. Slessy 6 on the YouTube says Roman will say he has a back injury, so he doesn't have to take the pin. Wouldn't be surprised, my man. That is something that I would not be surprised. So we'll just have to get him counted out. Maybe he'll tap out or something. Who knows? But yeah, I'm really excited for CM Punk. Back-to-back main events, and this year he's gonna be main eventing night 2. So this is like the main event, which he's always been kind of hoping for. That's also why I was nervous. I didn't want him to get injured during this match against Finn Balor and lose this opportunity to be in the Sunday night main event, the night 2 main event, because he deserves this. This is what he's always wanted in his career. And they did have the better main event last year on night 1, the triple threat, but this year, no doubt about it, Sunday night, night 2, main event, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and he is walking in as the world heavyweight champion. Like, I got the goosebumps just saying that. I'm very happy for him. Like, this man can then like ride off into the sunset whenever he wants after he does this. So props to CM Punk, man.
Yeah, and then we have Sean Garner on YouTube. So both Rumble winners lose. Then what happens with Roxanne if Liv and Raquel break up? I would think Roxanne probably goes Raquel's route. I really don't know. I'm hoping that we see the end of the Judgment Day soon, because it's time. It really is. It's just time for it to all come apart. I'm hoping we start seeing the cracks in the foundation tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw with Finn Balor, and then we go from there. And then we have Stussy, unless the final boss comes back and decides he will have that match with Cody. Don't think it's happening. Ty is the biggest Rock fan. I don't think he thinks it's happening either.
I wish.
And then we have Sean on YouTube. Is Rollins a babyface now? I mean, he's going after.
Sounded like
Vision.
it.
Yeah, I would say so. I definitely, he was written off TV. The whole Vision storyline is just a mess. Like everything got sped up, and then everyone got hurt. Now it's just a mess because we know it was Grayson Waller under that mask, and now they're probably going to play it off that it was just one of his I guess people that train at his academy. Now that Grayson's screwed, I feel bad for Grayson Waller. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but yeah, it definitely sounded like Seth Rollins was a babyface, and I think he absolutely will be. Piggy Banks, I think they should turn Cody heel. Preach, brother. Absolutely preach.
Right.
We've been on that train. Yeah.
Yeah, let me rewind a little bit on a bunch of this real quick. So yeah, I think we kind of know possibly where we're going for WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. I mean, Drew McIntyre. I'm gonna just dive into the end real quick, then we can kind of go back because I know everyone's talking about Cody turning heel. We have final boss versus Cody, Danhausen, all this stuff. So what I think is going to happen, and I think everyone kind of speculates this. Now we have this title match on Friday. There's two routes they can go now. Route one, which I think everyone will freaking despise, but I think then we can have Cody turn heel. I think we can have it happen if he wins the title to then fight Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I think that's an awesome idea, but we can also see mayhem happen. We still have a angry Jacob Fatu. Randy Orton still says he owes Drew an RKO for interfering with Aleister Black match that he was in. So we can see a lot of interference on Friday, and then we get this fatal four-way. So I think there's two routes we can go. If it's the fatal four-way, Cody's not turning heel. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the route they're going to go. I would love to see Randy go one-on-one for the title. I want Randy to get 15, and I think that's the route they should go at WrestleMania. But I'm just bummed that we don't have, or I don't have at least, I don't have the excitement yet for WrestleMania. Usually I get that excitement at Royal Rumble, and the Elimination Chamber is like the icing on the cake leading into it. And I don't have that. And I'm bummed about it. And I really hope there was. And I want to go Ethan Black on Twitter. I think he's giving his ratings of the Elimination Chamber.
That's definitely
he said the Women's Chamber was a 7 out of 10. Women's IC 6 out of 10. World Heavyweight Championship 7 out of 10. And the Men's Chamber 5 out of 10. I completely disagree with a bunch of those. I think the Women's was maybe a 4 or 5, 4.5. I think the Women's Intercontinental Championship was a 2.5. World Heavyweight Championship match, I would say definitely 7, maybe an 8. And the Men's Chamber, I might agree with you, maybe 5, 5.5, 6. I think the women just kind of lacked a bit. I think it was a rough night for them, but they'll bounce back as they always do.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up Stussy's comment here. It really seemed like they are setting up Drew and Nick Aldis, and he's talking about the post show where they really got involved. Nick took off his suit jacket. Is this a way that they can go? I don't know. I feel like that would be, as much as I want to see Nick Aldis in a WWE ring wrestle, because he can still go. The guy can absolutely still go. I feel like it's a disservice to Drew McIntyre. Now, I completely understand how Drew doesn't want to get back in the ring with Cody, and he's doing everything in his power. And now they have this match on Friday. But I really feel like it's setting up for, we at the time thought it was going to be a triple threat between Cody, Drew, and Jacob. It might be a fatal four-way now, because I can tell you what, it's not just going to be Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes this Friday night come SmackDown, because Jacob's going to get involved. You know that. Randy's somehow going to stick his nose in there. And then I think that's when Nick Aldis is like, you know what, screw it, all four of you. And then, I don't know, it's messy. It's just completely messy, because then Orton can be like, what the hell? I won the chamber fair and square, and now I have to also wrestle Cody and Jacob Fatu. I don't know. It's just, I don't like the way it's going. Sean, will we ever see AJ Lee versus Roxanne? I hope so. I hope so. Want to go to Stussy? Ty, you can take this one.
Yeah, Drew did nothing wrong. He just wanted to be on the show. We should be grateful. We have a world champion who shows up. I agree. Let the man show up. I mean, no one was mad that Seth Rollins came in and stopped Logan Paul, who was the highlight of the Elimination Chamber with 3 eliminations. He was going to eliminate Randy and Cody if he didn't get stopped. So, I mean, no one got in Seth's case. All we got was a Nick Aldis getting mad at Drew McIntyre. And then we have Ethan Black on Twitter, or sorry, on X. I'll forever call it Twitter. 4-way elimination like WrestleMania 2000 without the McMahons. That would be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be a great way to kind of remove that just fatal 4-way aspect of it and have it elimination style. That would be fun. I think there could be a lot of cool moments from that. And yeah, maybe we can bring TKO board in the corners for that one. Who knows? Please don't do that. Piggy Banks watching recently is like watching the Jets. Yeah, you can say that again. It's a rough go as a Jets fan. I don't know if Piggy Banks is a Jets fan, but I am. I know you are. It is a rough go at this time. And Slessy6 on the YouTube might as well announce another chamber match for Mania. It could be for the title. Yeah, just throw back in. I don't know. Who do you want to throw in there? Anyone, I guess. Sammy, we could throw in there. Maybe Aleister Black.
They just have so many. So we are past the 30-minute mark. We're going to keep going for a little bit longer because we definitely still have to talk about Danhausen and if we want to talk a little bit more on the men's chamber. But I just feel like there's just way too many hands in every single cookie jar. Because now, like, they started teasing the Sammy and Cody thing on SmackDown, where I thought that was the best segment of the night last Friday night. And now, where does Sammy fit into all of this? It's just there's just way too much confusion right now for my liking. 40 days away from WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I agree with you because usually, like, even before Royal Rumble, we kind of have an idea of where storylines are going, and maybe they want to go this unpredictable route. Maybe they want people to not, guess the main events and the matches 3 months out. But when we do and we see what's happening, it's better because we have interest. We have stock in these stories and these feuds and these interactions. So to me, I like when we have a 3-4 month long story leading into WrestleMania, because then we get this huge payoff and it's over. And sometimes it leads to backlash. Sometimes it doesn't, but at least we have that fun where we can really enjoy a story and they intertwine, like these characters intertwining on this road to WrestleMania. And at this point, right, we have a Sammy who I think is getting a character change, right? He's hot-headed, but then apologizing. Maybe he's going to snap like Bayley did. And to me, that whole Bayley thing is a weird gimmick that I thought they overhyped at this point because it's not really doing it for me. That was a side comment anyway. But I want to also reference Piggy Bank. Does LA Knight ever get a push? Dude, I think that man's hurting himself. I think he's just stabbing himself with a dagger. He needs to do moves and have opportunities where he can't slip and can't mess up, because that man loves to slip in the ring. I feel like every time I watch him, someone's playing Mario Kart, a banana flies in the ring, and he somehow finds it and slips when he's supposed to do a move. I mean, it's stuff like that. Like, you can't have that be a consistent thing. And to me, if you try and do that top rope jump to the elbow, which he does great most of the time, but if you're constantly finding yourself in situations where you're going to slip or fall or not make that, just cut it out. Just don't even have it in your arsenal. Find something different that you consistently hit so you don't have to worry about that moment. Because I feel like you're going to get in your head. You're going to start thinking, oh, crap, I got to do this move again. Oh, hopefully I don't slip. And when that happens, it's probably going to happen more often than not.
Yeah, I want to take this one. Stussy, how would you feel if Drew drops the title and we get Cody, Randy, and Drew versus Aldis at Mania? I just said it a few minutes ago. I feel like as much as I want to see Nick Aldis in a WWE ring wrestling, I feel like that would be a disservice to Drew McIntyre. And I don't want to see that. Drew should and rightfully be in a main event match at WrestleMania. But now they're just adding all of these, like you said, it could be an elimination chamber at this point with how many people are hating each other and whatnot and just getting involved. It's just getting so messy. Because you're right, you could add in a Sami Zayn because Sami got screwed as well. It's like, I don't know. Then Cody with his heel antics are saying like, Sami, you screwed yourself. And just, I don't know, man. It's getting too messy for me. I don't know.
And Steven Chambers says Sammy going to AAA, bringing back El Generico. I would feel bad for Sammy if that ever happened. That is funny,
Same.
but I feel like every time Sammy kind of gets some stride in his character, the rug gets pulled out from under him. And now, like every time that happens, he has to undergo this transformation, which this man has gone through so many transformations. And I thought the bottom of the barrel was when he was the conspiracy theorist, but now we're getting this like angry than sorry Sammy, which to me is not a good look. Like, let him just be a hothead. He didn't have to apologize to Cody last week.
No.
He didn't have to apologize to Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu didn't apologize to Sammy for how he talked to him. Cody didn't apologize to Sammy for how he talked to him. So, like, I hate this, like, Sammy has to be this good guy, because in that sense, he's never going anywhere. Let the man be a hothead. Let him get some kind of like flavor, some anger into him, and let him just run with it. Let's see how he does as that. Bring him back as a heel, but not as a funny heel, as kind of an aggressive heel, like a Kevin Owens heel. But it's just a shame how things are panning out. And then Ethan Black, you guys think Sammy's getting involved in the WWE title match? It could be very well a possibility, right? If we're even talking, you just said it, Justin, we're talking a fatal 4-way and people getting screwed and pissed at Drew. Sammy could get angry because Jacob Fatu called him out for saying, dude, Drew helped you. What are you talking about? He didn't go after you. So maybe Sammy wants his licks on Drew for making him seem like that. But who knows? It could be a freaking Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania at night 1. Who knows?
Yeah, with Sammy, like with that segment with Cody in the backstage area, you heard the fans getting behind him when he was going at Cody. And then once he apologized, the crowd booed the shit out of Sammy. You can literally audibly hear someone saying, Sammy, you suck. Sami Zayn, everyone just wants Sami Zayn to have a backbone. If Sammy has a backbone and he just starts getting a little bit more aggressive, he can still be a face. I feel like they're still on this Cody Rhodes-esque story of him finishing the story. And I think he will probably next year in Saudi at WrestleMania. I mean, if Sami Zayn finally wins a world title in Saudi Arabia at WrestleMania, I think that's a picture perfect moment. But I feel like he also has to be a face. I feel like he can't be a heel in that situation. So we just need Sami Zayn to just grow a backbone and just start sticking up for himself and going a little bit harder in the paint. And you have Ethan saying, to be fair, Sammy is a Canadian. We are always sorry. Fair.
Hey, no, that is not true, because you know who's Canadian? You know who's never sorry? My boy Ethan Page, all ego. He will never be sorry for being the best NXT North American champion of all time, with 273 days reigning, over 10 defenses. He will never be sorry as a Canadian. So sorry, I just had to get that in there.
Sean Gardner, I just brought this up earlier. Wonder if Jessica Carr can still wrestle. I know she was training. I would love to see a match between her and Becky eventually down the road, especially if Becky still is calling her out, you know. Sussy, this is reminding me of 2017 Rumble, where everything thinks Randy won, but at least it wasn't Roman Cody. Yeah, but I mean, I still feel like, I don't know. Like I said, I just didn't want Drew and Cody one-on-one, but now I feel like it's just getting too much to being like, I'm starting not to care about this match either. I don't know if that's how you feel.
Dude, I just personally, that's how I feel. I don't want Drew Cody one-on-one. Obviously that's not happening, so that's out the books. I wouldn't mind Cody versus Randy one-on-one for the title. If they made that pivot, that is a match I've wanted for a very long time, and that could go. Slessy6 on the YouTube saying, Ethan Page is my tribal chief. One's in the sky. I completely agree with you, my man. Thank you for that comment. But I know people are going to boo the crap out of Cody if he does win on Friday, which, fair. People don't want to see him right now, but turn the guy heel at that point. I don't know. And Piggy Banks saying, why even have the Drew and Cody match on Friday if Drew doesn't drop the title? I agree. It's a weird swerve, but the only way that it would work and Drew retains is, like Justin said, if you have a fatal 4-way, if you have interference, and Nick Aldis is just so fed up, he's just like, you're all going to have a shot at the title, and Drew's going to have that multi-man match. But again, back to what Stussy said, Drew said in a recent interview, if I defend the title in a multi-man match, what was the point of the chamber? And I completely agree with that too.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like they kind of back themselves in a corner, because every year we get Royal Rumble winner, main event match, Elimination Chamber, next title. And like, to me, when you have that, you can't really build stories anymore, because just a random person is going to get the shot. And I miss the days where we didn't have that Elimination Chamber make that second title match happen, because I feel like it can happen organically. And I get that that second title match usually was kind of already known or can be speculated without the Elimination Chamber, because you already see who was feuding. But I was always fine with that, because what I said before, the story and the history is there. So
Yeah.
to me, I feel like having the Elimination Chamber kind of shoots themselves in the foot every year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And then you have Ethan here saying, so fuck the stipulation that Cody doesn't get a rematch. Now, obviously, Drew said, oh, it was in the fine print of the contract. You Americans don't read, right? But I think it was just like, I don't know how to explain this with, like, I feel like this was like the clause was like an automatic rematch, right? He said you have to start from the bottom and work your way back up. If Cody won the Elimination Chamber, that's working his way to that rematch. It's not like he signed a contract that said as long as Drew McIntyre is champion, Cody can't get a rematch. Drew said you have to work your way back and get there. And Drew has been screwing Cody from getting there on purpose. And that's why Nick Aldis got fed up and said, all right, now he has a match because he's earned it. And you keep doing this. I told you to stay out of it and you're not staying out of it. So now that's why you're getting this match.
Steven has a decent comment right there. Yeah, if Drew gets himself DQ'd, that's a possibility. But I also could see Nick Aldis waltzing out and saying, restart that match, no DQ. And then things will get real wild if that happens. I don't think Drew will be able to finish that match as a DQ loss with Nick Aldis, with how angry he was on Saturday. So it's a possibility he could DQ himself, but I don't think the match ends. I think that gets restarted if he does do that.
And then you got Piggy Banks. 4 of the 6 people in the chamber don't even make sense to win it, so it just becomes a showcase. Yeah, we discussed that last episode. I said Javon Evans is probably going to do some cool stuff in that chamber, but I can guarantee you he's not winning. And then I said LA Knight, he's always in these Money in the Bank matches. He's in the Elimination Chamber. He always comes right there, but he ain't winning too. And there's 2 or 3 guys that you think that could actually win. So it is what it is. I mean, at that point, let's get into Danhausen. I want to talk Danhausen. Ty, what did you think of Danhausen's debut in WWE?
I'm impartial, I guess. I mean, I'm happy for him to be in WWE. He's obviously excited. They promoted him a lot. They started this 2 weeks ago, and they've been egging people on to see who's in this box. I know people were bummed that we didn't see more from him just from his entrance. I know people wanted to see more, but again, I said this, right? We have one comedic act right now in R-Truth. How does Danhausen fit the mold? Do they make him a serious and comedy act? Do they go full force with the comedy act? Is he taking over R-Truth's role? Is him and R-Truth going to pick a brand and be the comedy acts for each brand? I still need to see more. I need to see more from Danhausen before I make my decision on my opinion of him being in WWE. All I can say is, like I said before, I'm excited for him. I think it's a great opportunity. I just don't know how they're going to use him. I'm as confused as this road to WrestleMania is as how they're going to use Danhausen.
Yeah. So for me, I enjoy Danhausen. I think he's a fun character. Like you said, now they have 2 comedic acts between him and Truth. I can't wait to see those 2 interact. I just think that they should not have done his debut the way they did. They built it up for 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it was, right? On the road to WrestleMania. On the road to WrestleMania, when you're having something like this debut, you want it to be big, right? And I feel like Danhausen's just one of those debuts that should have happened on a Monday Night Raw. I don't think they should have done this elaborate reveal for Danhausen. I like the little pyro that they gave him. I think he's going to sell a ton of merch in WWE as long as they use him correctly. I believe they will. It's just a wait and see, like you said. quickly go through these comments. I'm going to have to unfortunately wrap this up short because my son is crying upstairs. So, and we're a little over time, but let's just quickly rapid fire through these. I like the idea of going through the chamber being the last chance to get to WrestleMania, but since the match isn't as violent as it used to be, it means less. There used to be a lot of blood in those matches. Will Chris Jericho come back to WWE in due time? I would think once that frozen contract is finally up. Ty, you want to take this one?
Yeah, Steven Chambers on the YouTube. It's like watching an episode of the Munsters with his ring theme and all. Real cool. His wife is one of the girl hounds. Yeah, cool. That is cool that she was one of them. Ethan Black on the Twitter on the Access AW mailed Danhausen WWE. That is hysterical. They probably did. Who knows? I know that Tony Khan has been keeping him in, what'd you say, Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah, Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. And then Steven Chambers. Oh, sorry. Yeah, with the Truthhausen. That is funny. I dig that. Imagine R-Truth wearing the Danhausen makeup. That would be an interesting look for R-Truth, but I hope that doesn't happen. Stussy6 on the YouTube. It should have happened like at a Halloween Havoc NXT. I don't know. I wouldn't bury Danhausen that much. I think a Raw could have sufficed, but it just, again, I still need more to make my decision on Danhausen in WWE.
Sean Garner on YouTube. Will we see Anna Jay or Britt Baker in WWE? I've discussed this prior. I think Anna Jay, once that contract is up, I think there's a good shot. Britt Baker, Guantanamo Bay for life. Won't see her around, and if you see her, she'll eventually be on AEW, but I highly doubt it. No return label. I'm assuming that is for AEW mailing Danhausen to AEW. And then the last one, piggy banks. If the entire WWE roster was a fantasy team, Triple H is the equivalent of Quinn. Justin will understand. Oh boy. Anyway, thank you guys so much. We are at the 50-minute mark on this quick count, and I really do have to go. I apologize. There's 411 of you watching right now, so I do apologize for shutting this short, but when dad duty calls. I think, if you understand, you understand. Please subscribe to the Body Slam Patreon for exclusive breaking news, interviews, podcasts, and more for $5 a month. Well worth it. Go follow Body Slam at Body Slam Net on all socials. If you look bottom left, you have at the 10 Count Pod on all socials, especially YouTube. We're building. We're up to, I think, 112 subscribers now. We've gained a lot this past week, which is awesome. I appreciate you all. Please go continue to give likes and comments on all shorts and lives that we do. It just helps the algorithm and helps us get noticed, and we appreciate the hell out of all of you.
Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to Piggy Banks, Matt, Stussy, Sean, Steven, Ethan. Am I missing anyone? I just appreciate you guys just being so involved today and taking the time out of your night and your Sunday to chat with us and give your opinions, because we do love this stuff so much and we're passionate about it just like you guys. And it's fun to laugh about sometimes too when it's not going too well.
Top left corner, QR code. If you scan that, it brings you to prowrestlingtees.com. It brings you to the official merch of the 10 Count podcast and the Quick Count. Get your official Quick Count or 10 Count shirt there. And just like Ty said, thank you all once again. In the words of Stone Cold, hell yeah, brother Justin, 1000%. We will see you all here Wednesday night. We'll be back. Once again, I apologize for cutting this quick count short. I would just keep going. But when the wife is calling me, I got to go. I got to make sure my son is all right upstairs. So thank you all so much. We will see you back here Wednesday night. Enjoy the beginning of your week. You can get Ty at TLP_Maxwell on X. I am at JStar02 on X. And until Wednesday night, enjoy Monday Night Raw, enjoy NXT, enjoy Dynamite, and we will see you back here on Wednesday night. Until then, we are out.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
No.